Welcome back to One Obsession at a Time podcast. I am your host, Anastasia Lara, and in this episode, I want to talk about how we eat. So, in the book Intermittent Fasting for Women, a Guide to Intermittent Fasting for Women by Megan Ramos, we talk about, we've always known and been told what to eat. So we know what generally are healthy foods, what are unhealthy foods, how much we should be eating, all of those sorts of things. And of course, intermittent fasting was probably one of the first times that I'd heard of when to eat, which is what alternate day fasting is. It's just the next level up from doing your daily fast. And in this book, in chapter 12, Megan has tips and tricks for building a healthy relationship with food, and she talks about the art of how to eat. So we've got what to eat, when to eat, and now Megan is introducing the how. And this means learning how to interpret your bodily sensations, your hormones, and the messages being sent. So a lot of people come to fasting and think what to eat is most important. But from Megan's perspective, the most important part is how to eat. And I thought that was really interesting. She goes into talking about leptin as the hormone that lets you know when we're full. And then she introduces a strategy to help you recognize when you're full, because she says that we've lost that ability. And she calls it the 90-minute eating strategy. And the strategy is this: for the first 30 minutes, you eat your meal. So that would be your dinner time with your family, or your lunchtime. For the second 30 minutes, you just sit and digest. And then for the third 30 minutes, you assess and evaluate if you are still hungry. So Megan says, in the first 30 minutes, eat your meal. In the second 30 minutes, give your body the time it needs to digest, and your hormones need to send the message of fullness. Do not eat or drink anything more during these 30 minutes. This pause helps ensure you don't get too full because of overeating. You can sit at the table and socialise during this time, or resume light work, although try not to do anything overly physical because you want to pay attention to your body. In the third 30 minutes, think about that feeling of satiation from eating an avocado. Is that how you feel? If yes, you've eaten a meal that is well designed for you and you've had enough fat and carbs. I'm just going to go back here because earlier in the chapter, she mentions that an avocado is a wonderful food for us to eat as fasters because it doesn't spike your insulin very much, and it also gives you that feeling of fullness. So that's what she's referring to. She does suggest that you eat an avocado to see what that feels like, and then compare how you feel after your first 30 minutes to eating the avocado. A bit of a fun experiment for you. Once you've determined, it says here, great. If you are still hungry, ask yourself, what am I craving? Fat, sweetness, carbs. Once you've determined what you are craving, eat more of that. My clients are so surprised when I say this, but it's crucial that you top up your food and help yourself truly feel full in this third 30-minute period. So that is a really interesting strategy to take on, to stop eating after 30 minutes. I don't know if I ever take 30 minutes to eat, to be honest. I actually think by the time I got to 30 minutes, I would probably have stuffed my face. So it's interesting, isn't it? I wonder if there's other ways I can slow down my eating. Okay, so that's one strategy that Megan gives us for really specifically for mealtimes. The next one is to eat in timed windows or to try mini fasting. And the premise of this is that every time we eat, we produce insulin. A little bit here and a little bit there adds up to a lot of insulin. So what she wants us to do is in between our meals, so say we finish our lunch at 2 o'clock and we don't have our dinner until 6 o'clock, we are going to implement a mini fast of 4 hours. And that's 4 hours where we are not eating again. And that is basically to keep our insulin in check. The next one is to learn to engage your parasympathetic response, which is mindful eating. We don't think a lot about our digestion unless it's working poorly and causing us pain. Our digestion is run by the autonomic nervous system, a two-part system that controls involuntary actions in the body. The first part is our sympathetic nervous system, and the second part is our parasympathetic nervous system. We know our sympathetic nervous system well because when we feel stress, our fight or flight response is activated and our body goes into survival mode. Most of us know much less about this parasympathetic nervous system, otherwise known as our rest and digest system. After danger has passed, our heart rate slows, our blood pressure drops, and our body turns on our metabolism so we can absorb nutrients and begin healing and repairing our cells again. So the key to engaging this system is to be relaxed and to focus on what we are eating. So she wants you to play some nice music while you're eating in the background, eat outside for the pleasant sounds of the wind and the birds, sit down and focus on your meal. Specifically, sit at a place that is designed for eating. So your dining table, not at your desk and not on your lounge. And put away your phone, your work and other distractions so that you can focus on your food. And she compares this like mindful eating to meditating. In meditating, you might count your breaths, and she suggests here to count the number of times you have chewed. She says here, optimally, you should chew 18 times before you swallow. That can be a lot for people to start with, so try 10 chews and then build up to 18. So I am going to try that. I know that I am quite a fast eater, so I will generally eat my meal definitely within the 30-minute period, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work for me. Maybe I'll have to shorten that time. And the next thing I do is I don't really chew my food a lot. I did read this thing, and I can't remember where I read it, but I read that we get 2 dopamine responses when we eat. And the first one is when the food is actually in our mouth and we're tasting the food and it feels so nice and it might be crunchy and and then we swallow it. And then the second dopamine response we get is when it actually hits our stomach. And I think I am just racing through to get both of those dopamine hits, to be honest. Okay, so in her expert tip, she says mindful eating is the most difficult practice for clients to adopt. But when I challenge groups to try mindful eating for 2 weeks, they are astonished by the results. They lose more weight, have better bowel movements, and no longer feel bloated. This is a huge shift that can make or break our fasting results. So we are actually pretty good in my family for shared lunches and shared dinners. We always eat together. But I will admit that when everybody else is out of the house at work or at school, I will graze. And I will graze while I'm cleaning, while I'm working at my desk, while I am wandering around the house or watching TV or whatever. So this is probably something I can really adapt. The 30-30-30, I think for me I'm going to do 15-15-15 and just see if that works for me and maybe try and extend out my eating time. And then I'm going to try chewing my food 10 times just to start, just like she suggested. Okay, and so finally she says, I wanted us to think about how to eat before we look at what to eat, because how we eat is crucial to our relationship with food. It's much easier to select healthful foods when you're thinking about rebuilding and when you really understand when you're satiated or still hungry. Now we'll explore what foods are best for you as you fuel your body for your life. This is really important, and on reflection, I can look back over the past 2 weeks and recognise I have not eaten. I tell a lie, I had some banana on toast. Except for that banana on toast, I haven't eaten any fruit, and I am normally quite a big fruit eater. But that's because it's a snack food. I generally do not have it with a meal. So that's something really interesting, and something that maybe I will have to start doing is adding a piece of fruit to my main meals. Okay, so in this next part, she talks about how to choose the right diet for you. So she goes through a range of different diets: the paleo diet, the keto diet, the plant-based diet, low carb diet, and I actually think she recommends any variation of a low carb diet. So all of those, the paleo, keto and plant-based diets, are all low carb. And consider increasing your carbs later in your healing journey. So if you do want to lower your carbs, she recommends on your what she calls her fasting days, her rebuilding days. She ate 20 grams of carbs on her rebuilding days, but now she will eat 100 grams, and that's because she is at her goal weight. So many women are afraid to go back to eating carbs because this macronutrient has become so demonized, but they often reach a plateau trying to lose the last 15 to 20 pounds, and that's when they can benefit greatly from introducing more carbs into their diet. So I'm just going to make a mental note of that, because I'm not at my goal weight at the moment, and I'm going to be mindful to keep my carbs low. But if I plateau, I am going to eat more carbs. And I'll probably reread this book and be reminded of that anyway. So she also suggests to eat your carbs dressed, just like the glucose goddess suggests to dress up your carbs. So be sure to have it with other foods such as vinegar, which slows the digestion, like a nice dressing. Save your carbs for last. So don't eat them first, because that will spike your insulin. So eat your fat and your protein first. What did she give an order there? She says to eat your fat first to help your satiation response and reduce your hunger. Then eat the protein and finish up with the carbs. So even this goes into the how, I think, rather than the what. How you eat your meal matters as well. So you eat the fat on your plate first. So that would be like, I don't know, the bacon or the avocado. And then the protein, the eggs, and then your carbs, which, maybe your sweet potato fries or something, whatever you're having. She also goes on to talk about social situations, where if you can, moving your schedule around to avoid that. And then also some great things to say. One of the things that I have read was to say, and it wasn't in this book, it was in another book and I can't remember which one, but the suggestion was to say, oh no, I actually ate before I came, as an excuse for why you're not eating. Another one could be, actually I'm doing a Whole30 diet, or I'm doing a different type of eating for a different reason, or I'm on a dry month, which means that you're not going to be drinking. And they're all socially acceptable reasons not to eat while you are with friends and family, or not to drink alcohol, for example. She also goes into some other things here about weight loss surgery, what to do if you have had weight loss surgery, and I haven't, but it also goes into that, and you can read that in chapter, I think that was chapter 12. That was chapter 12. Okay, so where am I so far? So far, I am 2 weeks into my fasting journey. I have lost 3 kilograms, and that's about 6.5 pounds, so I'm quite happy with that. My husband has said that he thinks my face is looking noticeably thinner. I am definitely feeling lighter and happier with myself, even though I'm not really seeing it. I'm seeing it a little bit in my clothes, but not a lot. So I am excited to keep going. In that 2 weeks, I ate at 18 hours. Was it the second week? Yeah, earlier this week I ate at 18 hours, and I hopped straight back on and did another fasting day the next day. And I got through that perfectly. That was not a problem. And then today was another fasting day for me. I ate yesterday, and today was another fasting day for me. And at 19 hours, I did eat. And the reason I ate is because it's Halloween today. It's also Friday, which is the end of the week. And tonight I am taking my boys to a Halloween party. At 6:30, we are going trick-or-treating. And then we are going to the party, and the party is until 10 o'clock. We probably won't stay until 10 o'clock, but I wanted to make sure I had some energy, and I had already committed a couple of weeks ago to purchasing some food there that I'm going to eat. So that's what we're doing. Then tomorrow I will fast again, and then on Sunday we have some friends coming over for afternoon drinks. Now, I'm not going to drink a lot. We're going to have light aperos, and so that means there will be nibbles and things like that. So I'm trying to work around my fasting and work around my social calendar as well. The good news is on Monday, my boys are back at school. So I am back to normal scheduling on Monday, which means having normal work time, having normal exercise time, and I'm hoping I can find my groove a little bit with my fasting over the coming 5 weeks that they have off, that they are back at school, and I can really lock this in all the way until Christmas. Anyway, that's me for today. I will let you know more in the coming days. See you then. Bye.